Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Fantastic Four Issue 3, 2022. And that's a really nice cover, and it fits that we're focusing on Johnny in this issue, and he actually does have to deal with a tornado. Now granted, that only takes up the beginning, but this is interesting to see how Johnny deals with his own kind of problems when he's on his own. Granted, he does it in a trademark kind of Johnny Storm kind of way, so it definitely is kind of cool because out of all of them, whenever he's kind of in the team kind of focus, they usually just focus on him being kind of a hothead, doing some kind of stupid kind of thing, or most of the time kind of lamenting his love life. Here, granted, we actually get to do a kind of deeper dive into him, which is what I'm really kind of thankful for with this kind of issue. So we see that he's kind of like getting us kind of set up to his kind of status quo. We see that there's like a tornado dealing with stuff. He's of course doing his Human Torch kind of thing, showing off for some ladies, and then talking about how he did understand some of the kind of stuff that Reed was talking about, how a tornado works and operates, and that they theorize that if you heat, of course, the cold air on top, it kills the updraft and it would go away. And the thing is, they were thinking about like microwaving Earth's atmosphere from space, and of course there'd be some kind of downsides to that. However, he can kind of more localize it with his own kind of approach, does it, and it works. He's like, alright, theory confirmed, buddy. Let's see. Talking about how being a hero is illegal in New York now, and hating the FF and everything. So he's kind of done a kind of secret identity thing, getting incognito hair gel and everything. He's really amazing. He thinks it's amazing the kind of names he's come up with. He's got awesome facial hair, and then we see that he is working at this Shoptastic place. His name is Jonathan Fairweather, and they are just all kind of just ones that are just so adjacent, because he talks about them later in towards the end of the issue of like, oh, I can come up with a new identity and everything. And it's just like, oh my god, like it kind of like the whole kind of look there with the art style really fits, where he's like, have a shoptastic day kind of thing, and he thinks that he's kicking butt at this kind of thing. It's like, that really just looks like he doesn't completely understand how to have a secret identity. And of course his boss is like, you're supposed to be an hour ago, talking about like the tornado in Wisconsin on like live stream. Is like, yeah, Mr. Merrill's orders, go downstairs, kid. If you're late, you're stealing from the company time. Let's see. Then he goes down for like the loaders and everything, and he's just completely horrible because he is pretty much almost talking up the Human Torch, and it's like, come on, dude. So we see he tries to kind of keep himself under wraps, but like he will spot weld certain pipes. We see this kind of like boiler thing is pretty much about to explode, but he's able to kind of like fix it and get away the handprint and everything. And everybody's like, man, that could have been horrendous, so we have to kind of be careful in how this works out. He's like, this is a problem, we should kind of fix this, and like, we can't really go to health and safety. Mr. Merrill will get us fired. If we're lucky, he told me that he'd get me and my family deported since none of them have papers. It's kind of like a place that really doesn't ask any questions, so that's why Johnny's able to kind of like blend in and everything. So then he decides to go to the Mr. Merrill dude as the Human Torch to confront him. And he's like, the Torch, I was wondering when we get our rematch. And evidently, this Mr. Merrill dude was a goon, and pretty much he had chased him, said death would be a picnic compared to what he could do to him, saying that he cooked the dude, and pretty much like he didn't squeal. Let me see. Until he like smelled his own hair burning off his face, and then he thought he'd escaped with his life. However, he learned later that he could control his fire completely, and he's pissed off that he played him. And then he tries to put him in like a pretty much flame kind of like cage, and he's like, yeah, you're bluffing. It's like, you either, it's 0 or 100. you don't have an in between. You can't pull your punches not with fire. So unless you're about to cook me alive in my own home, Torch, I'll be walking out of your flaming cage now. As he then walks and then starts punching him. And this is where the art stopped. Like, granted, it's been really good before, and I really like how they're able to showcase the Human Torch's power. But that is a nasty fucking punch right there, as he just gets hit, and the dude just beats the shit out of him because he can't burn him. And he doesn't want to burn him, he doesn't want to hurt him, he doesn't want to kill him. So the dude just plays into that and just is like, I made myself stronger. Without fire, you're just a guy, and I'm bigger. You need a team torch, and you don't got one no more. Got one anymore. You're nothing, as he then kicks him out of a window. And it's like, yeah, Torch does kind of play better when he's on a kind of team thing. Pretty much calling him a joke, and just pretty much lambasting him as the internet gets a hold of his, like, traitors, thwack, tosses Torch. And then, of course, it sees that since, that Mr. Merrill is, like, taking even more people's salaries and acting more horrible kind of places, more kind of horrible practices at the workplace, and he's talking about how he thinks that it's a strength, that he won't hurt people, not a weakness, but yet Merrill found a way to make it a weakness, and he can't stop him, not without a team. And then, of course, gets the idea that he can have a team, as he then reveals himself to the people. He's like, dude, we knew you were Johnny. And he's like, what? No way. You don't think we wondered who welded a patch to the leaky pipe in the break room? Plus, you talk up the Human Torch a ton, kid. No more than the average person does, right? It's like, oh, God. And then they're kind of like, listen, he's, like, starting to cut wages and everything. Like, and trying to figure out, he's like, listen, I know I messed up, but I know I can fix it. We can take him down. I'll just need, I can't do it alone. I need a team. And it's like, what, the Fantastic Four? No bigger. I'm thinking the Fantastic 40, as they pretty much set off to make it look like they're unionizing. And Merrill's like, you're all replaceable, right? I mean, you know that, right? And then, of course, Johnny shows up. And he pretty much gets Merrill to chase him into, like, this kind of frozen meat locker kind of place. And he's just like, you can't touch me. And he's making it think that he'll just, like, burn out the oxygen or whatnot, waiting until he freezes or whatnot. But he's like, no, I'll just burn out the oxygen until you pass out. And he just starts whacking the shit out of him with, like, a fish. And, well, is it a fish? Some kind of hunk of meat. Talking about him being like a liar and everything, as he then tells him to stop as he goes back, turns his flame off. He's like, yeah, let me see here. He's awesome on a team. Funny thing about teams, sometimes they're the ones off doing the real work. Sometimes all they need is for you to be a big, bright, flaming distraction. As he talks about how the rest of his coworkers are getting evidence of his fraud and everything. He's like, yeah, but eventually corruption fails, and he's got some federal friends who really do care about that sort of thing. As he's trying to, like, run out, and he's trying to get Torch to burn himself, burn him accidentally. But he's like, no, I can control my flame, so screw you. As he blasts off. Let's see. And, of course, corporate then took over Merrill's store. And Tate made sure everybody kept their jobs and got paid what they're worth. So then he's like, I did burn the whole kind of identity. And he's wondering, asks Spidey why he doesn't just keep the suit on 24/7. It's like, yeah, interesting kind of thought process there, Johnny. And then he gets a call from his sis. He's, like, talking about how, like, hey, is everything, like, did you see the whole tornado news? He's like, she's like, we need you to join us. He's like, hey, did you find Alicia and Ben? That's great. We have, but Johnny, something's wrong. As we then see the last panel where we see Sue and Reed in front of a giant dome that looks like the skin of Ben. So it's like, what the fuck happened there? So it'll be interesting to kind of see what kind of goes on. We're supposed to learn what kind of happened for the Fantastic Four to have this kind of reaction to the world, why they broke up and went their separate ways, and why they're trying to kind of get back together now. So it'll be kind of interesting to see that whole kind of thing play out next with the story. But this was a good story to understand Johnny's kind of thought processes, how he kind of handles situations when he doesn't have a team, and then kind of being like, okay, I can't do this, I can't do a lot of, I can't use my flame powers, or really like my hero persona in this kind of scenario to big effect, so I need another team to help me achieve my goal, to help them have a better kind of workplace. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, and definitely was an interesting kind of read to get also more understanding of Johnny as a character. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.